Welcome everyone to our episode of Collab Friday after a break. We are having a comeback and we are having some exciting updates when it comes to the format of the event. So I am super excited to have you all here. Thank you so much for taking the time to meet us, whether it's your morning, your afternoon, your evening. Just to give you a little bit of an intro, I'm Sandra. I'm looking after Cohere community, and I will be your MC today and we'll be walking you through our agenda. We have planned some really exciting stuff for you today. Hopefully you enjoy it. So first up, we are going to invite to the stage Nick Frost, who is Cohere's co-founder, and he is going to share Cohere Hot Topic of the month. Before we share that though, I wanted to let you know that we're super happy to share that we have actually surpassed 2,000 members on Discord community, and we're super excited about that. We will be coming with a little, well, maybe not such a little cookie and a thank you gift for those of you who are the most active Discord members. So stick around, and next week you should know what that is. Thank you so much for being with us. We are growing. We are getting more and more creative. We are warming up in terms of building stuff, and Collab Friday is also a platform for that. So to give some spotlight to your awesome ideas. So yeah, thank you so much for being part of this. Coming back to the agenda. In a second, Nick is going to share a few words that are relevant to our community, hopefully. So stick around and see what he has in store. Cohere Hot Topic will be a monthly segment where we will be sharing some exciting stuff around our community, some interesting conversations that are going on, or some product updates. Next up, we will be hearing from our demo presenters. After that, we will be going into breakout rooms. One breakout will be for the tech-oriented folks, one for the business-oriented folks. I mean, folks with business-oriented questions / tech-oriented questions, and we will be taking conversations there. And we will finish up with Aidan's Pick of the Month, which is this new thing we did with Aidan, where he looks at the demos that community folks created and chooses his favorite one within the particular month. We will be talking more about that in a second. And we will be closing with updates on upcoming events. So stick around and see what we have in store. So yeah, we can go into Cohere Hot Topic. Nick, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Awesome.
I'm ready to present Cohere Hot Topic. I didn't bring any Funko Pops or Blink-182 t-shirts, but I think I can still do a good job of it. Hi everybody, I'm Nick. I'm one of the co-founders here. Today I'm just talking to you about Discord bots. That's the thing I wanted to talk about. And the reason for that is I have built a lot of Discord bots with Cohere over the past year. As a co-founder here, I spend a fair bit of time just like building stuff with our API. And I do that in part because it's good to know what we're actually building, and in part because it's really fun. And Discord bots has been like a place where I have often like gravitated to for demoing this stuff. And the reason for that is there's a whole bunch of stuff that Discord does a really good job of that makes using Cohere like a lot easier. So for instance, like Discord is already maintaining the state of a conversation. So you can always just go back and read the information. That provides an easy way to trigger bots. And it's really easy to share. Like once you've made a Discord bot, you can put it into a server that you maintain. And then if you want to, you can give a link to people and they can put it into their server. So it's a really easy way to like whip something up. You have the whole interface already for you. And then you can share it and demo it to people. So there's 2 right now Discord bots in our Discord. And if you go there, go down to a section called project demos. Yeah, in project demos, there's 2 right there, and there will be more soon. So the one that I wrote is called the grounded QA bot, and that's a thing where you can like ask a question, and then it will try to contextualize that question, Google search the answer, and then find the relevant information and give it back to you in a natural language sentence. So that one's really fun. You can ask a question in the bot, and then if you emoji react with a question mark, it'll try to answer the question. You can also DM the bot and just use it as your own personal conversational search agent. And if you click the bot there, there's a link and you can add that into your own server. The other one that's being demoed there right now is the WebLM, and that's the thing that Aiden and now a few other people have joined and are working on. And that's a bot where you try to it like automates a browser through language. So yesterday, Aiden was able to successfully give it the command, buy me, I think it was like buy deodorant from Amazon. And it was able to, like, with that command, Google search Amazon, Google search deodorant, give him the thing. And with like minimal interaction from him, it has shipped deodorant to his house. So that's great news for him and for his coworkers. And also for Cohere as being able to do useful stuff. But the thing today that I wanted to tell you was that if you guys are making Discord bots as demos, and you've made a Discord bot that's you're proud of or you want to share, you can message us and we'll add it into that demo section. So we'll make a channel for it. We'll give permissions to that bot only for that channel. So it won't be able to read anything else, but it can live in that channel and you can demo it and share your work with other people. So if you make something that's cool, message me or Sandra or anybody else, and we can give permissions to the bot so that it can exist in one channel and people can see it. And then if you want to like get other people to work on it, like Aiden has done with the WebLM stuff, feel free to share the GitHub and see who else is working on it. One note just for the future of Discord bots. Right now, they used to be kind of brittle, but they've switched over to like a version 2 of the Discord Python API, which is mainly what I use. And that is really focusing on slash commands. So normally you would trigger a bot by like writing a special sentence or something, like writing a token at the beginning of your text. But now there's a whole framework for giving it commands. So the ecosystem of Discord bots is like evolving pretty quickly. And it's honestly getting a lot better. Now you can like do slash command and then that'll give you like an input window. And so you can make like input windows for people to interact with the bots. So yeah, great time to be building them. If you build one, we'll put it in the demo section. And if you want to check out the demos that are already there, feel free. If you want to contribute to the WebLM thing that Aiden is working on, that's fine. And my grounded search bot will be open sourced next week. So if you want to contribute to that after next week, that'd be great too. Yeah, cool. Any questions on that? No? Cool, then I'll pass it back off to you, Sandra. Thanks for having me.
Awesome, thank you so much. I will just add that if you're considering turning your demo with which you are applying to community demos event, to turn it into a Discord bot, we have added this little section of a question where we're just asking you if you're interested in that. If you indicate that, we will also reach out to you and help you turn it into a Discord bot that will be displayed on our server, which is sweet. Thank you so much. All right, so we will move on to the demo section. We have 4 very exciting demos in store for you today. After each demos, there will be a feedback and Q&A time. And we have Cohere mentors today with us, David Stewart, Robin Geiner, and Adrian Morissette, who will be giving live feedback to our lovely makers. However, if you have any comments or any questions around the particular demo that you've just seen, just feel free to either let us know in the chat section or unmute yourself and go ahead and share it directly. So without further ado, first up is Arjun Patel with Prompt Engineering Assistant for Image Generation. Arjun, are you with us?
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen and we'll get started. Can everybody see my presentation? Beautiful. Hi, everybody. My name's Arjun, and today I'm going to present my project called Perfect Prompt. Before we get into that, I want to introduce a little bit more about myself. I'm a data scientist with experience in unstructured data. I was formerly working at a company called Appen and another company called Speako, which I worked on building a speaking coach for people, kind of like Duolingo is for learning a new language or Grammarly is for fixing your errors when you're typing. Speako was meant to be an application to help improve your public speaking skills. I then moved to industry working at a company called Appen, and I was laid off promptly after working there. And I had a lot of time to myself. And I realized that there are a lot of really interesting, crazy things that are happening in the space of natural language processing. We have a lot of foundational models now that can be fine-tuned, or we can use transfer learning to do a lot of interesting downstream tasks on. And I wanted to learn more about those things. So I started learning about transformers, and I came across a really weird problem that I learned about. And that problem was related to image generation. I was learning more about image generation, how people create prompts and stuff, and I realized that the current free ways to do it were very annoying and very time consuming. So on my presentation here, I have the Hugging Face Gradio free demo of using Stable Diffusion. And it takes about 43 seconds for you to generate 4 images given a certain prompt. And to me, that felt really hard. That user journey felt very uncomfortable because you would have to create a prompt, you would wait 43 seconds for that prompt to come back. You would think about what you want to change with that prompt, and then you would repeat that whole cycle over and over again. So to me, this felt very time consuming. There are options to make this processing faster, but then you have to spend a lot of money in order to host the model yourself or do something along those lines. So that felt very expensive and frustrating to me. So I wanted to see if I could build a product that could resolve this issue to shorten this user journey of creating prompts and images. And once I did that, I built something called Perfect Prompt with Cohere APIs. It's meant to be a one-stop shop for prompt engineering and image generation. And today I want to show you all how to use it and what we can actually do with it. So I have the tiny URL here if you want to work independently, but I thought it'd be really fun for us to come up with an image together with these few categories in mind. So in the chat, if people have any suggestions for what we should generate, I'll show you how Perfect Prompt works in order to create suggestions for you in order to get better at that image that you're working on. So the categories that we have right now are architecture, cottagecore, steampunk, cyberpunk, landscapes, and watercolors. And Perfect Prompt will try to match your prompt to one of these categories and then provide suggestions for you to improve that prompt. So here's what the web app looks like. If anyone has a suggestion for a prompt, feel free to type it in the chat or tell me. Otherwise, I have a prepared prompt we can mess around with. Oh, beautiful, Robin. Thank you. That one looks amazing. Brutalist, kindergarten playground. So we'll hit Shift Enter and the model will start running. This will take some time. And what it's doing is it's embedding and trying to classify this prompt into one of the 6 art styles that I presented before. Once it figures out what art style is actually happening, it will seed that keyword into a Cohere generate API along with a phrase that says, hey, take this prompt and rephrase it with more detail. And it'll generate 10 different suggestions for you to use. So once this stops running, we'll have a bunch of different suggestions for us to have inspiration on in order to create our next prompt. Not only that, I found an open source implementation of Stable Diffusion. Okay, so this is our little image that came up. It's really weird looking. It does remind me of the days I spent staring at brutalist architecture. And let's see what suggestions came up here. So we go down here and we have our cache and we see some really weird stuff. Thank you, Robin, for your suggestion. We see light at the end of the dark or at the end of the tunnel, which kind of reminds me of concrete. We see some other keywords that are important, something hidden, HD, 8K, intricate, elegant, abstract. All of these are really interesting because when someone tries using an image generation model for the first time, they're not going to think of phrasing their prompt this way. But the Generate API allows you to think about how to phrase your prompt in a certain way in order to get it to generate the images that you want. I'm getting close to the end of time here, but the idea is that you can send back another prompt and make more images as you need. And yeah, so thanks for listening to my demonstration. If you have any questions, let's hear about it. I'd love to talk about how my product works.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. We are opening the feedback and Q&A section, and the tiny URL has been pasted in the chat, so you can go and test it out. Yeah, can we hear from anyone's feedback?
I can chime in. Super impressive. I think it's a very cool implementation of using Generate and a lot of the Cohere stuff. To get the prompts initially, were you just using your knowledge and familiarity working with these image generation models, where you were giving it inputs and examples of sentences, or was it like a broader data set you used?
Yeah, great question. So I was able to use a website called lexica.art, which acts as a search engine for prompts for Stable Diffusion. they have an open API where you can pass keywords to their search engine, and you can pull down like the top 50 prompts that come up associated with that search engine. So I used the categories that I had to scrape those prompts from that search engine. Then I fine-tuned a Cohere model on the prompts from that in order to create suggestions.
Very cool.
We have a question in the chat from Josh.
Yes, I saw. So the wait for the output is for a few things. It takes about 3 seconds to generate the image using an application called Replicate. We're not interacting with Lexica during the runtime of the application. The rest is just using the Classify API and the Generate API. So I think the rest of the lag is from those two APIs. I tried implementing a speed up where instead of retraining the whole model by sending examples into the Classify API, I fine-tuned a Classify model and then tried using that, but I only got a little bit of a speed up. So that's something I'm working on thinking about.
Awesome. Any business-oriented comments around monetization and stuff?
Yeah,
or other? Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, right. I find it quite interesting because I came across on OpenCD website. They have a weekly webinar, and they have a competition now where they give you a picture and they actually come up with the prompt. So I think it might be interesting for you to apply that and see how it is able to nail the problem. That'll be an interesting application.
That sounds really fun. Actually, one of my first ideas for like an application was to have a game where you present an image to two people and they both compete to get the prompt. And that way you would, that way you would get a data set of like, oh, okay, what do people think creates this thing and what's the actual thing is? But that sounds like a lot of fun. I bet you could use this application to get the prompt that you think it actually is faster.
Interesting.
All right, folks. You can save your further questions or feedback for later and also for the follow-up discussion. Let's move on to the next demo presentation. Thank you so much, Arjun. That was sick. We loved it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. Next up is Toby. Toby, do we have you here?
Yeah.
Toby is presenting project topic generator for engineering students. Over to you.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay. My project title is Project Idea Generator for Engineering Students. So a brief introduction of myself. My name is Tobechukwu, and I'm from Nigeria. I'm an undergraduate student of the University of Nigeria, where I study mechanical engineering. And yeah, my hobbies are listening to good music and playing soccer. So that's my picture right here. So my machine learning journey, I actually began machine learning in 2021. I come from a place in the world where artificial intelligence has not really gained its ground. So I did a lot of self-learning. I leveraged on free courses on platforms like Coursera to get started. And I'm actually quite new to natural language processing. I think we full dive into the field about a month ago. Yeah. So in my project presentation, I'm going to answer 3 questions: what, why, and how. So what did I build? I built an app that helps students generate creative project topics based on their discipline. So I know the title says engineering students. Yeah, those are the people I had in mind actually when building the app, but it actually works for any discipline you find yourself, especially technical disciplines like computer science, physics, and the rest. So a nice feature of the app is that it allows the user to enter his or her favorite courses in order to streamline the generated project topics to suit the interest of the user. So like I said, I'm studying mechanical engineering, and obviously I have topics I love more than the others. This feature actually allows the user to impute the courses that interest him or her to be able to streamline the generation of those topics to suit the interest of the user. Why did I build it? It was needed at the time by people around me. So I'm in my final year, and as a requirement to graduate, to get a Bachelor of Engineering degree, you actually have to do an undergraduate project. So at the point, we are asked to submit project proposals to professors to actually see which projects we actually have in mind to do. So I was getting some complaints that by some people that they were not able to actually come up with something nice. So I thought, why not just do it? So yeah, that's one reason why I did that. I wanted to create a readily available tool that helps to get project topics. So that helps students to get project topics that will excite them. And it also felt exciting to solve a problem in my immediate environment. So how did I build it? I used the Cohere generate endpoints and extra large model. I built the front end with Streamlit, and the app was deployed on Streamlit Cloud. Let me just do a quick live demo on how the app actually works. This is what the app looks like. So project idea generator. So basically you put in your department, put in mechanical engineering, then you put in your favorite courses, and I put fluid mechanics and machine design. Then you put the number of project topic ideas you want, then you can generate project topic ideas. So it will bring out the project topics and a very few words describing the project. So you can see CFD analysis of helical gear pump. You can see this. You can see this 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, and 5. So that's actually how the app works. So what next? I plan to work more on this project by adding extra features, such as the ability to generate links to publications on similar projects as the one suggested. And I also look forward to building more projects with Cohere. Yeah, thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for the demo presentation. We have a question from Serge on the chat. Did you fine-tune the model or did you just use prompt engineering?
I just used prompt engineering actually. I didn't fine-tune anything. Yeah.
Awesome. Folks, do you have any comments, questions, thoughts on how to improve it further? Yeah.
Toby, I think this project's really cool. One of the things that I would be really interested in is what you said, which was getting access to other publications that could relate to the topics being generated. I think a lot of the problem that people have with literature review is just like finding the stuff that's relevant. So if you get like a topic and then match it to like, hey, these are the other articles you should read to learn more about this thing, that would be so cool. That'd be really neat.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. David says it's very useful and he loves the idea to add links with related project papers. If you want to follow up, David, go for it.
No, I think his second iteration and version 2 sounds exactly what I think would be useful. Adding in papers, I think would help ground the seemingly random generate ideas with actual projects that have been done before. It also gives students the ability to follow up and get resources from people who have done similar types of work and not have to go do that themselves. But I think this is super interesting. Were the titles generated separately from the related content beneath it, or was it generated as one request?
No. They were generated separately. So
okay.
There were 2 models. Yeah.
Okie dokes. Robin says he would love this essay idea when he was in school. I think many of us would benefit from a tool like this. We have a moment for like final comment or question or feedback if you want. Shoot.
All right, I'm trying to understand because I'm really not into the whole AI that much, but I've noticed that something like OpenAI, they have a language model that you could type in something and get an answer to the question. So I was wondering how your output compares with doing something like that in OpenAI language model.
I didn't really get your question. Could someone just help me to professor what he said?
Yeah. Stanley, I think your question is if he's tried his prompt on the OpenAI endpoints. That's your question?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have actually not used OpenAI before. I'm actually new to this machine learning concept, so I don't know if I could answer your question perfectly.
Having seen your prompts, Stanley, I could probably answer that question. So like OpenAI also provides a large language model via an API. So using his prompts on OpenAI would probably get similar results. Both the language models are different. And when like third parties have evaluated them, they often have roughly equivalent. He might need to change his prompt a little bit in order to get the best results from OpenAI. But the results would be fairly similar, I imagine, for a prompt like this.
Okay. All right, thanks, Mark.
No worries.
Alrighty, thanks so much, folks, for your questions and feedback and comments. Thank you, Toby, for your lovely presentation. We are moving to the third demo of this session, which is going to be presented by Amir. He is going to show us his SuperTransformer, which organizes emails based on urgency and importance. Amir, over to you.
Thank you. So yeah, thank you everyone. Welcome to the demo of SuperTransformer. My name is Amir, and we built this prototype as part of the Cohere Hackathon Classify API that was conducted by LabLab. So a bit about myself. I have, say, about 15 years of experience in tech and have played various roles from individual contributor to head of engineering. But I am truly a tinkerer at heart, and I like to play with technology, anything up and coming. With NLP, I have a bit of a history. I started dabbling with NLP, say, about 10 years back, but back then it was mostly statistical, bag of words, word to act. I did Coursera, Manning, Jurafsky, but I had a feeling, this is not ready for some sort of a industry and things. Fast forward 5 years, and thanks to transformers and attention mechanism and architecture, every day we are basically getting papers that are just beating the sort of benchmarks, and the field has got so exciting. I was just looking at stable diffusion, and it's also so mind-blowing and so much potential over there. So I wanted to dabble with technology, and the best way to do it is as part of hackathon. It just forces you to come up with something very useful very quickly. So what is SuperTransformer? SuperTransformer is an AI-assisted email inbox for productive, efficient, and effective executives. SuperTransformer, the word itself, is a play on superhuman, email inbox manager with similar goals of making you very efficient. SuperTransformer allows you to intelligently categorize your emails into actionable labels so that you spend less time triaging through your emails and more time focused on your work. So I'll raise the stakes a bit. If you can just take a quick 10-20 seconds to send an email with the subject line of your choice to test.hillary0@gmail.com. test.hillary0@gmail.com. This is going to be useful later in the demo. You can take a subject line, one of the displayed over here, or you can just send a subject line of your own that you can share. Let me quickly check if I have any new emails. This is the email inbox which is going to receive it. Okay. So during the demo, at any point, if you can send out an email, that will really help with the demo. Anyways, jumping on to the next, what is the problem that we are trying to solve and how we are trying to solve it? So it's not a new concept. It's a very, very old productivity hack, commonly known as Eisenhower decision metrics. So President Eisenhower had a quote, something which is urgent is not important and something which is important is not urgent. People have taken this particular quote and try to basically create frameworks out of it. And what we have is we classify tasks in these two axes, important and urgent. So something that is important and urgent, it's better if you just do it right away. Something that is important and not urgent, you can decide later, maybe in the evening, end of day. Something which is not important but urgent needs to be responded quickly. You can just delegate it to your colleagues or to your one-downs. And something that is not important, not urgent, it's better to just discard it and have less distraction. So that is basically the concept around the Eisenhower matrix. But if you look at the other productivity metrics like inbox zero or getting things done, as well as a lot of other productivity metrics there is a lot of overlap, and they basically follow some sort of a similar philosophy. Jumping on to a solution. We were looking, the team was looking during the hackathon, we were looking for email data that we can use for the prototype. Most of the email data cater to spam, not spam type of problem. But then we found the Hillary Clinton email dump, and the Clinton emails were released as part of the public investigation that was because of her using her private email servers and things. And that was a perfect fit for our use case. Clinton, being the topmost executive of the State Department, needs to be very highly efficient to be effective at her job. So rather than just creating some sort of simulated data, this was a real world data. And if we can demo our use case on this real world data of how we can make Clinton efficient at her work, is going to be, the testimony of this is going to work in the real world. So what we have used various open source technologies as part of it. We used Label Studio to manually label the email for training. We used Cohere APIs to train and fine-tune a model to classify into important, urgent, or those 4 categories that I actually showed to you. Use Streamlit to host the public UI, and we use Pipedream. Pipedream is a IFTTT, so it basically constantly checks your or basically pings your Gmail server, and as soon as it receives an email, it takes it through its workflow, and there we figure out if this email is important or urgent, and based on it, we can actually use the Gmail APIs to call back from Pipedream to label it in one of those 4 categories. So enough of talk. Let's actually see the demo. Nice. Thank you so much for everyone who sent out the email. So let's actually see. This is Pipedream. I have paused the workflow. Otherwise, it would have just triggered automatically. So I've enabled the workflow. I go inside. I trigger it. Basically manually, but it can actually get triggered every minute, every 5 minutes based on it. And you see a lot of new emails have come up, a lot of new tasks have started. So let's actually see if it basically, it starts labeling. Oh, it has started labeling. You can see a few of the emails have start labeling here. Something which is like, happy anniversary or thank you for your time gets labeled as discard. Something like, can we request a meeting, gets labeled as delegate, so that your executive assistant actually can look into it and things. So apologies to everybody whose email got labeled as discard. This is fine-tuned on Hillary Clinton's email data, so don't take it personal. Going back here, if you want to try it out, how it works, and if you want to just try out a few things on your own, you can actually go to this particular URL, bit.ly/SuperTransformer, one word. And here you can actually just write down the subject and the body, and it's going to give you the same results as well as more details around how the Cohere's classify model, what is the data it is returning, and what we are labeling it as. So Iran, China deal maybe later. It's important, but not really urgent. Maybe something like DPRK that should ring bells in State Department. Click on it. Definitely, you should look at any emails that says DPRK, AMSETs, border detentions. Obviously, the State Secretary needs to actually quickly look into it. So that was the demo. So yeah, if I have been at one of those points where I was getting a lot of emails in my inbox, and there was no way to understand what to attend to and what to attend to not, with SuperTransformer, we plan to actually categorize it so that it's quickly actionable. You just go onto your now emails, reply it right away. Later emails at the end of the day, discard. You don't even have to look into and delegate. You can just create a filter to send or forward it to your executive assistant or secretary or other things. So that, you have more time for your work and less time to receive the emails. A few of the challenges: the data was not clean. We're using very few signals and things around it. There is definitely a potential in it. I think we do see a lot of potential. With that, I'll pause my demo.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Incredible idea. I think many of us here would benefit from a filter powered by a large language model on our inboxes. Yeah, folks, thoughts, questions, feedback.
Did you test various sizes and amounts of data to fine-tune a classifier? Because I guess the follow-up question is, how realistic would it be to have individually customized filters for everyone's inbox, and how much data do you think that would take for every person?
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting problem. I think it also touches upon these federated models, right? Where a model is useful for multiple users, but then there is one model which is personalized for you. So what we have done is we have used the real world data. And if you actually look into, there is also one of the constraints, any urgent and important communication also happens over WhatsApp. So from that particular point, like we are not really monitoring WhatsApp. So that skews our understanding of it. We have used the real world data. So whatever was in the email body, we basically definitely used it. But then the other thing is we are discarding a lot of signals, like where it is coming from, who's sending it, at what time of the day they are sending. And also the threaded conversation, it was like too complicated for a hackathon to like go into. So a lot of those signals we just discarded to just focus on that.
Awesome. Nick has a question that he posted in the chat. Do you want to share it directly, Nick?
Oh yeah, yep. Just you were classifying based off of just the subject line in the demo. So do you are you normally using the subject line and the body, or just the subject? And then if you normally use both, does just giving it a subject affect the accuracy or the performance?
Yeah, actually we are using both. So we are just concatenating the subject and the body with some sort of a separator and sending it for fine-tuning. So both the subject as well as the body is going to be.
But you find that it's robust. It's robust to have only the subject. It's able to classify still accurately with just that.
Yeah, I think even if you look into the actual email dump, a lot of communication just happens to the subject line. A lot of times the body is empty. So from that perspective also, I think, yeah, definitely more stress on the subject. But I think, yeah, I'm still confused. How am I going to tell the model that focus on the subject more and body less? Should I just repeat it multiple times? So it's going to be interesting.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. We have space for one more question / feedback comment. So go ahead and grab it. Otherwise, we'll move to another demo. Harshada has a question. Does it automatically categorize emails as important if subject line has the word important?
Not really, I would say. Important is a very generic word. So we have manually categorized the emails based on our own geopolitical understanding. So if we found the actual email dump having DPRK or Libya or other keywords, we classify it as important and urgent. And yeah, so that's how the model is trained. So it's not really going to respond to the word important. But I think there is a lot of correlation also, if something needs your attention immediately, the subject line automatically contains word urgent. So if you send the email with subject line urgent and maybe not so urgent thing, the model might be confused and classify it as important.
Okay, Harshada says it's very useful. And thank you so much, Amir, for your lovely demo. We loved it. Let's move on to our final demo of tonight, which will be presented by Arnav, Atharva, and Satyajith. Hopefully haven't butchered the name completely. If so, please forgive me. So folks will be showing us Scripture, which is fantasy creature generator for writers. Bring it on.
So welcome to our project demonstration for Scripture. It's a text and image generation software for advanced script writing and creativity. So we can move on to the about ourselves. Next slide. So this is our team. Satyajith can start.
I'm Satyajith. I'm a freshman at Berkeley, and I'm majoring in business as well as pre-med.
And I'm Arnav. I'm a computer science student at UCSC, also a freshman. And my experience with natural language processing is mostly through research and explainable artificial intelligence.
I'm a freshman at Berkeley, majoring in computer science and econ.
Or I guess, so we're going to start with a demo and then go into the inner workings of the project. The demo will highlight a use case and then the functionality. So if you can stop sharing the screen and I'll share mine. So let's start with a demonstration that will cover both the use case and functionality. Let's say I'm a writer who is writing a traditional quest story, and I know that my hero is going to find himself in a cave. And I know that he's going to encounter some sort of creature, but I can't think of the motivation for an entire creature, its description, and its backstory. So I launch the scripture tool and type in something as simple as cave monster, submit. And after it's running a few models behind the scenes, it's going to output both an image for this monster and a description. And so here we go. It's as you can see, fairly realistic image of a monster, and then a rather good backstory for the monster. So it says it comes from a mysterious island. It's a little brown animal whose name can be translated to small cold thing. And it's a male humanoid, and it has a helmet with horns. So just like that, with a click of a button, I have unlocked an entire section of my book. I now have a description for my creature, which I can write about. I have a rough backstory for him, and now I can launch my writing based on this story and the background. I can generate an infinite amount of characters, an infinite amount of text, and it works for as much as I want, and it completely offloads the creative inspiration I need. So that was it for the demo. Let's go into the inner workings. All right. So Scripture uses a multimodal approach, which starts with Cohere's version of Stable Diffusion. It's as simple as inputting a prompt and then getting a text output, image output. We then take this image output and run it through an image captioning model called Blip. And finally, we take the text from the caption model and run it on a fine-tuned generative model, which Atharva will talk about later, which gives us our overall output for the backstory. We wanted this project not just to focus on generating a rough description of the character, but also a story for the character, as that's really important for writers. So we managed to do that with fine-tuning. To start off, we'll just talk about the implementation for Stable Diffusion, which was really simple thanks to the Cohere API. It was as simple as a JSON request. And as you can see, it was 3 lines of code. Originally, we were going to use Google Dreambooth for fine-tuning Stable Diffusion on data sets that we found. And the results were very good, but we found it was pretty hard to run locally. And so we ended up with this. And as you can see by the demo, the results are very promising. We then implemented Blip, which is an image captioning and visual question answering model, which works very accurately, as you can see by the screenshot of a demo that I took. It's very accurate for realistic images. For fantasy images, it's not as great, but it is still really good for our use case. And then Atharva will go on to talk about the generative part of our application.
Yeah, so now this is where we started implementing the text generation portion of the project. And for this, we used Cohere API's text generation functionality. And we inputted the caption generated by a Blip to generate like a background story for each of the images. So to ensure that the text generation was customized towards fantasy, we had to find a lot of like data about character backgrounds, and we stumbled upon a website that provided exactly this. It was a wiki of mythical creatures, and it had over 250 such descriptions. So we used Beautiful Soup to scrape the descriptions and format it so that it could be taken in by the Cohere API. And we used this data to train the model, and all of this produced our final project, which was shown in the live demo. So next, I'll hand it to Satyajith to talk about use cases.
Thank you, Atharva. So some use cases for Scripture, not only is it fun to play around with, but it has a lot of applications in mainstream entertainment with creative writers and creative teams. So it can be used from anything from film to video games to books. And we even thought about card games. Like, I don't know if you guys played Yu-Gi-Oh as a kid, but I was big into it. Scripture makes static worlds more vibrant and rich. Writers have access to a large data set where they can draw upon a variety of characters and a variety of backstories to help with their world building and story development. Not only that, but Scripture reduces creative load on writers and developers. Recently, it's really hard for writers and developers. There's large teams in companies, especially such as Marvel, to create such characters and backstories for such characters. So it would reduce the cost of creative teams, and it would increase the efficiency at which they're able to create said characters. And some future development for Scripture, we thought about diverging just from fantasy characters to a wide genre of characters. This would create a larger market and would also create a larger audience for Scripture. Not only that, we also thought about generating sprites with backstories. This would be 3D meshes, which could be used in video games as well as VFX. And this would have a larger application in film and TV shows. And finally, metaverse, which is an expanding area of tech, has not so populated worlds right now. So we thought that we could use Scripture and the idea of creating 3D meshes to populate worlds and create a larger user engagement. And this would also help streamline game and world development with creators being able to create more sprites and more characters for their said video games or worlds. And with that, I think that's the conclusion of our presentation. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, friends. That was awesome. There's so much love you got in the comments during your demo. I just want to highlight that. There's one request for a prompt. Maybe you want to run it meanwhile while you're answering questions and responding to feedback. Nick, would you like to voice out your idea?
Oh yeah. My question is, this is like 2 steps away from being super useful for Dungeons and Dragons. Have you guys ever played Dungeons and Dragons? Yeah, like if you just conditioned off of if you just conditioned off of like a level and an enemy type or something, it would be really great. Like suddenly every single NPC could have a full backstory. So I wonder if you guys looked into that. And then the other question I had is, I noticed that in your character description, there was vivid visual information. Like you say, he's got a helmet with horns. Are you putting that into the art generation prompt, or are you generating and then it ignored it, or are you generating those 2 things independently?
All right, so to your first question about D&D, that was actually the inspiration for this project. A lot of time was spent trying to find like a D&D data set for both the monster generation and the text generation. And then, so your second question was about whether the prompt or whether the text generation included the prompt, or was it like?
Yeah, my question is one of the art generation, like you generate text describing the creature. Do you use that text for generating the image, or were you just using like the name? Yeah.
So we just used the original prompt. And so that was as simple as like cave monster, and then it implemented that. Then Blip ran an image captioning on it and outputted a result. And then so that caption was taken by the text and generated from there.
Wait, the caption was generated from the image?
Yes.
Okay. Because yeah, it said a few things that weren't in the image. Like it described a helmet with horns that the guy wasn't wearing. But I wonder if you did it in the opposite way. Like first use Cohere to take a cave monster and then generate a visual description of the cave monster, and then put that into the image generation, as opposed to, it sounds like you guys are doing the opposite. You're going cave monster image text description. You might go cave monster text description image and get more cohesive results.
Right. Yeah. There's like there's also a lot of fine tuning we could do with the blip model. It was actually just a simple pre-trained implementation, but yeah, changing the order of the pipeline could also increase its accuracy even more.
Yeah. I'm not sure though, but that's cool.
Keith is asking whether you can share the link to your project, and
Yeah,
Eden's asking, yeah.
I just need to, it's being run locally, so I just need to use Gradio to share it.
Awesome. Once you do that, we will share with everyone the link, and we are running short on time, so I will have to put a pause on our discussion. We can move it to community demos forum, where we will be posting also recording from this session. Meanwhile, I want us to move to the, thank you so much, first of all, folks, for presenting your demo. We are coming to the segment in which Aidan is choosing his favorite demo, and I actually saw Aidan here during the event. So drum rolls. Oh, actually a little comment first before you, Aidan, you will share your opinion. I just want to let you know that Aidan will pick his favorite demo from this event. It doesn't mean that other demos weren't good. We love all of them. That's why you're here. That's why you're presenting today and talking with us about it. But we just hope that it will extra motivate you and will be like this nice cherry on top. The folks that will get picked by Aidan today will have a one-on-one mentoring session with him via Discord, and we'll get a Discord badge effective the 1st of November. So it will be reflected there and will be featured on our socials. So we will push a little bit of promotional love into that particular demo. We are also going to add this demo to the conference booth during one of our upcoming conference appearances. So yeah, putting that lovely demo out there. And without further ado, Aidan, do you want to share your favorite pick?
I think I didn't realize we had such a great graphic design
that's
image to read into me. I appreciate this. Yeah, so amazing stuff. It was so cool to see what you're building. All 4 of the projects were super sick. As soon as they are shareable, please let me know, because I'd love to play with them and like promote them on Twitter. But I have to pick one, which sucks for me. And I think I'm gonna have to go with the one that I feel like I need the most right now, which is the SuperTransformed. My inbox is crazy, and I really want to install this. So tell me how to do it. Give me a link. I'll install it. But thank you all so much. I'm so stoked by all the projects. They were amazing, and I'm stoked to meet you, Amir.
Congrats to Amir, SuperTransformer. You're the one. Thanks, Aidan, for chiming in. Well, everyone, it was such a fantastic lineup today. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for your presentations. Thank you, folks, for participating in our collab. We have planned a little group photo if you're up for it. So if everyone could turn on their cameras and make a cute face for the photo so that we can capture you all, that would be great. Let's take a photo in 3, 2, 1. All right. That was the cutest I could do at this time of the day. Thank you. Thank you all so much. Let's wrap up. I want to give you just a little bit of a hint of what's coming up for the future events. So the next collab will be held at the last Friday of November. And then the final one this year will be held mid-December, 16th of December. If you haven't signed up yet, make sure to sign up. If you want to present your demo next time, make sure to let us know. We are also having quite some onboarding webinars. So if you're curious about using Cohere, if you haven't had a chance to play around with it, you want to know the basic ins and outs so far, API and Playground, please check them out. And we are also having a next episode of Talking Language AI series with our lovely Jay Almar, who is also present today, coming up soon. So stay tuned for that. If you are going to scan this little cute QR code, it will take you to our Discord. This is our Discord invite. We have a community demos forum where you can share your projects, share your opinions about the event, ask questions, ask follow-up questions, and keep up to date with what's going on in our community. All right, wishing everyone a fantastic rest of the day or night, depending on where you are. Thank you so much for coming. It's been great, and see you next time. Take care.
Thank you, Sandra. Thank you, Eden.
Bye, everybody. Great job.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.